Autopilot features are becoming more prevalent as we move further in the world of AI. We've seen developments with OpenAI's ChatGPT Copilot, GitHub's Copilot, and so many others. However, it's quite frustrating when there's apps that are not open source and they restrict you to work on entire code bases. This is where I introduce to you Continue. Continue is an open source project that is an autopilot for software development. It is accessible through Visual Studio Code as an extension, and it brings the power of ChatGPT into your IDE to help you code, configure it, debug it, and optimize it so that you're able to deploy it fairly easily. Now you're able to also develop and deploy different types of softwares with Continue. It will generate, refactor, and explain sections of code using large language models. Now you're able to edit natural language and generate files from scratch. This is an easy and free option for you to utilize ChatGPT's Copilot. Now this is going to help you so much with code as well as developing projects within the realm of software development. Now throughout today's video, we'll be demonstrating how to download Continue, how to use it, and lastly go over some features. So with that thought, let's get right into the video and showcase what Continue is actually about. Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video at the world of AI. As we mentioned at the start, we're going to be taking a look at Continue, which is an open source autopilot for software development. Now this is a tool specifically for software development, which is revolutionizing the way coding is experienced for developers. Now this is something that is seamlessly integrated using Visual Studio Code as an extension. So you don't even require much overhead to install this. You're able to utilize this for free, and you have the full potential of utilizing ChatGPT right into your integrated development environment. And it's something that could be used alongside whether you're trying to deploy a software or if you're trying to utilize OpenAI's autopilot features with your own IDE to launch or tweak, debug, as well as focus on many of the each features that they specified. Now this is something that I'll talk about a little bit later in the video, but we can see that it utilizes ChatGPT to help you with this coding process, and this is something that continues to empower developers to basically like streamline their coding tasks like never before with ChatGPT. It basically utilizes the fundamentals and it changes the way that you interact with the AI to help you solve different types of things. We can see this from this video over here. You're able to do so much alongside with the AI, and it tells you certain things in terms of editing the code, tweaking it, explaining it, as well as making sure that you get the right suggestions so that you do not make an error when you further generate the code or write the code. And this is something that is super beneficial if you're trying to deploy certain things. You basically are utilizing a smart language model to help you easily control what you're trying to deploy, as well as making sure that you're able to do it efficiently. And this is something that I'll showcase later on in the video as to what you can do, how to set it up, and how you can download it. If you guys would like to access our private Discord in which you can get exclusive features, partnerships, subscriptions, and so much more, definitely recommend that you check out the Patreon page in which you can take a look at in the description below. Now if you guys haven't followed World of AI, please do so you can turn on the notification bell and stay up to date with the latest AI trends. Lastly, make sure you guys subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like this video, and check out our previous videos. But one thing I want to say is that we started this channel approximately in February, but I started to get more active around May-ish or April, May-ish, and we're at the point where we just hit 20k subscribers. And I just want to say thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart, as this means so much to me that I'm able to push and use my own voice to help other people out in the world of AI. This is a great way for me to keep on pushing, spreading positivity, not just through AI, but in other ways to make you guys feel better, or in other ways to make it more productive for you to have an easier life with these tools that I showcase on this basic platform. But I just want to say thank you so much for giving me this chance to help you guys out. I'm going to keep on working my hardest. I've said this many times, but I'll keep on working my hardest to make sure that you guys get the best content. So thank you guys so much for supporting. This is just the start, guys. You don't even know what I have planned for this. Gonna keep on working, gonna gonna make sure that you guys are able to get the best content in the world of AI. So with that thought, let's get right back into the video. Now let's take a look at some of the cool features of Continue. We can see that one of its standout features is its innovative approach to task-based code auto-completion. Now this is something that is very beneficial, but it differs from the conventional tab-based autocomplete feature. Now this feature is something in which you can specifically use for coding tasks in natural language, and it's something that you can do with Continue. But it will not only autocomplete the code for you, but it will also generate, refactor it, and provide you explanations for the entire code sections related to the task that you gave it initially. Now this approach basically shifts the focus on a mere tab completion to comprehensively addressing developers' coding needs, which is a significant boost in code generation, as well as helping you understand what the development is of the code that you're working alongside with as the AI generates it. Another feature is editing in natural language. Now to refactor a section of the code using Continue, it simplifies and selects the code that you want to improve, and this is by instructing Continue to utilize natural language to initiate the refactoring process. So this is one cool way for you to work alongside with the AI and utilize the natural language to help you process and refactor the code. Lastly, you have the generation of files from scratch. So this basically means that you're able to create new files from scratch using Continue off an open blank file in your IDE. So in this case, if you're using Visual Studio Code, you can allow Continue to initiate the creation of a new Python script, for example, a React component, or any other code file that you wanted to create, and you can work alongside with it to help you develop the software that you want. Now, one thing that I really want to mention before we get on to the installation as well as the demo is that Continue is on a mission to expedite the development of different types of softwares, and it recognizes that definition of great can vary among engineering teams. Now, one thing that they wanted to do is achieve this thing that they have basically stated in automatically collecting the data while utilizing Continue. They basically wanted to simplify the process of gathering vital development data. Now this data basically serves as a multi-purpose, including the ability to basically calculate the ROI of large language models. So it provides more insights for like developers, and it basically facilitates the model's improvement to address these challenges as it collects the data of the large language model. So what they're trying to do is that they're trying to collaborate with the forward-thinking organization, and what it's trying to do is that it's helping them establish the robust development data engine, which can contribute to more of an efficient and data-driven software development process. So this is quite big, and it's something that is definitely going to be very beneficial to helping as well as creating different types of software like creation apps, and it can definitely work alongside with large language models and creating such types of basic softwares with this extension. So in a way, the data that they collect can be further refined and used to help create more complex and stronger types of softwares. Now the term stronger meaning that more detailed and having more capabilities. So this is something that I really wanted to specify, as they have a good future roadmap in what they're trying to accomplish. Now to install Continue, you're going to be needing an IDE. Now if you do not have one, you can easily get Visual Studio Code, and that's something that is a free basic coding editor that you can utilize for this. So once you have that installed, you can just click on the download button. It will take you to the marketplace for Microsoft. Now in this case, you can just easily click install, and this is to install the Continue extension. So this will prompt you to open up your Visual Studio Code. So you can easily open this up, and it will prompt you to the extension marketplace in which you can install from Visual Studio Code. So this might take a couple seconds, but once this is done, it will be easily and quickly installed. Now guys, once it has finished installing, what you will need to do is create a new window to actually see if it has fully installed. And you can see if it's installed, you'll see the Continue extension over here, in which you can open up and start working alongside with this application to help you create and deploy different types of software. Now it's easy as that. You can upload a file and work alongside with this. Now one thing I want to mention is that if you want to disable this, so that you can work on another extension, you can easily just go onto the extensions tab, disable it by clicking on continue. You're also able to uninstall it and tweak around with other types of things by installing different versions and copying it so that you can extract it somewhere else. But in this case, I'm going to be showcasing you what you can do and how you can play around with this. So in this case, you can easily just close this up and open up a basic code file in which you want to play around with. So in this case, I'm going to just open up some basic code and we're going to basically play around with this. Now I just generated a snakes and ladder game using code llama and I imported it onto Visual Studio Code with this random Python file. Now we're going to work alongside with this code with continue to make it better, debug it, as well as showcase the true capabilities of continue with this code. Now before we actually get to that, I want to showcase a couple of things that we can see at the bottom of the screen. Now in this case, you're able to select different types of large language models. This is a new feature in which you can use different types of things to help you select different types of models. So in this case, you can click on this plus menu and you're able to basically incorporate different models. So you have OpenAI as a model provider. So if you want to use the GPT 3.5 model, you can basically set this up and configure it in the config.py, and it gives you a basic demonstration on what you need to do, how you need to implement it, and where you can download the basic things that are required to set this model up. You're also able to use GPT-4, which is a limited free trial. You're able to work with LM Studio. In this case, you might get certain errors with certain models, but it's something that they're continuously working on improving. You have Anthropic, in which you can import the API keys that are needed. So in this case, you can use Claude 2, import the Anthropic key by pasting it over here. Obviously, once you have done that, you can click File and Save, and you'll be able to start working along with the code. In this case, you're able to also change the system prompt by changing the system message, which I'll showcase a little while later, changing the temperature so it basically generates code in another way. Another thing you can do is select these other Hugging Face interface APIs in which you can incorporate models from Hugging Face to chat alongside. So if you want to basically incorporate a certain type of coding large language model, you can definitely source it through Hugging Face and import it through the config.py by basically changing the Hugging token, like face token. You're able to change the endpoint and import the actual model that you want off of Hugging Face. This is something that is very, very useful, and it's something that will help you with your code generation with the Copilot. Now you're able to have a new session, which you can just easily click on this plus button. You have different histories in which you can track what you have generated. You have the doc itself, in which you can access off of their own documentation with continue, which gives you how to like customize certain things, gives you context providers, collecting data, and a lot more. So if you're interested in this, I'll also leave this link in the description below. Now another thing is the feedback. This is by basically giving them feedback on what they can do to improve this. And lastly, you have the settings, in which you can input the setting assistance message, as well as tweaking the, my bad, I'm spazzing, but tweaking the temperature so it generates in a certain way. And once you have that basically set to a certain temperature, you can easily just click save and you can start generating and working alongside with your code. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first implement an OpenAI API key so I can utilize GPT-4 or GPT 3.5 to start showcasing a demo with what I can do with continue. So I have inputted my API key, and now I can ask it questions, give it instruction to generate this code in a certain way. So in this case, I can basically just ask it, is it possible for you to tweak this code so that it can have 4 players instead of 2? So I input this prompt using GPT models, and it's gonna generate this response, and it's gonna basically work alongside to provide you this input, or like the solution for this input. So in this case, it said, sure, I'd be happy to help. However, you haven't provided any code for me to modify it. Could you please provide the code for me, and so that you can accommodate for 4 players? So in this case, you can click on the bookmark context, so you can save this context, but in this case, you can copy this code right over here, paste it over here. Now you're also able to load different types of code you're able to add mode codes to the context and bookmark it so that you can refer to it later on. So when we have inputted this code, we're going to click continue, and we're going to be able to import this 4 players, like this new input of this game supporting 4 players, sorry. And it's going to start doing this by tweaking this code so that it can refactor it to have 4 players. And this is something that is very, very cool. It has a very easy way for you to interact with it, and it generates it fairly fast. Now, if you like this code, you can basically copy it and move alongside with the by copying this onto the main Python file that you had already created. And if you do not want it to be generated in this type of way, you can basically ask it to rewrite it. Now, it also says this modification introduces a list of player positions, 1 for each player. So in this case, it gives you an explanation as to what it did for the single prompt that you gave it. And this is something that is really useful for a lot of people, and I see this becoming a tool very beneficial for a lot of developers. But that's basically it for today's video. I hope you found this demo to be very useful, as well as this app that you can basically incorporate in many different ways. But this is a game changer for developers as well as for software development. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm sorry I'm sounding a little tired and having a little raspy voice. It's because it's around 3 a.m. for me right now, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys are going to get the best content right away. But a new update I have is that I'm going to be actually very busy this month, unfortunately, so you might not see the best uploads or the best quality, but I'm going to try my best to make sure I can upload every single day. But there's going to be days where I don't actually upload for a couple days, so just keep that in mind. I'm just going to be very, very busy with my other businesses, so I just needed to keep that in mind with you guys. So don't worry, I'll be back once October hits. I'll be back to my daily schedule. But that's basically it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys check out the Patreon page if you want to access our private Discord. Definitely give World of AI a follow if you guys haven't already. Lastly, make sure you guys subscribe, turn notification bell, like this video, and check out our previous videos so you can stay up to date with the latest AI news. But with that thought, have an amazing day, spread positivity, and I'll see you guys fairly shortly. Peace out, fellas.